Ladies and gentlemen, we all know life can be unpredictable, and in the blink of an eye, things can change. We face challenges, setbacks, and obstacles daily. But what separates those who succeed from those who falter isn't always talent, luck, or resources. It's the ability to control our feelings. You see, life's greatest battles are often fought within ourselves. The external world can be a whirlwind, but how we respond to that world, how we manage our emotions, determines our future. If we let our feelings run unchecked, we become slaves to them, and we lose the power to act with clarity and purpose. However, if we master our emotions, we gain the ability to shape our destiny. Control over your feelings isn't about suppressing them or pretending they're not there. It's about recognizing them, understanding their impact, and choosing how to respond. This control gives us freedom. Freedom to make decisions based on reason, not reaction. Freedom to stay focused when the world around us is in chaos. And freedom to keep moving forward, regardless of the setbacks. Here's the truth. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And the secret to true success is found in the way we manage our emotions in the face of adversity. So today I challenge you. Take ownership of your feelings. Don't let them control you. Master them and watch your life transform. And then life throws all kinds of things your way, but how you feel about them is up to you. You can't always control external events, but you can control how you react to them. I'm not telling you how to react, but you can try to control it. It's important to pause and reflect when emotions rise. Don't act on impulse. Give yourself space to think clearly and decide how best to respond. The most successful people are those who can stay calm under pressure. Emotional discipline helps you avoid rash decisions and stay on track toward your goals. Reactions happen instantly. Responses require thought. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a moment to respond thoughtfully, keeping your long-term goals in mind. Anger, frustration, fear. They all have the power to derail you. Acknowledge them, but don't let them dictate your actions. Focus on your greater purpose and keep moving forward. In any situation, try to reframe your thoughts. What's the lesson? How can you grow from this? A shift in perspective often turns negative emotions into a powerful source of motivation. Ultimately, controlling your feelings isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. And when you master your actions, you master your life. Let's start with a simple yet profound truth. Your emotions are your responsibility. No one else can dictate how you feel unless you allow them to. Life will present countless challenges, disappointments, and moments of frustration. People will criticize you, situations will fail you, and events will not always go as planned. But through it all, the way you feel, the way you respond, and the way you carry yourself is completely within your control. Square one moments, the best and the worst possible. Square one moments. The way you carry yourself is completely within your control. You see, many people fall into the trap of believing that their emotions are a reaction to the world around them. They let external circumstances determine how they feel, how they act, and ultimately, how they live. And that's where they get it wrong. The moment you give away your emotional control is the moment you hand over the power to shape your future. But here's the liberating truth. You are the one who decides how you feel. Yes, you might feel anger when things go wrong. You might feel frustration when things don't seem to go your way. But it's important to remember that those feelings are just signals. They are not commands. You don't have to act on them. You don't have to let them control you. The key is recognizing those emotions for what they are, temporary reactions, and then choosing to move forward with intention. You can choose how you respond. You can choose to let frustration fuel your determination, or you can choose to let it turn into discouragement. You can choose to turn anger into productive energy, or you can let it become a roadblock. You can choose to shift your perspective and maintain control, even when life gets tough. The moment you take responsibility for your emotions is the moment you step into your personal power. You realize that no one can make you feel a certain way without your consent. And when you master this, when you decide that you are the captain of your emotional ship, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are in the driver's seat, and that makes all the difference. When emotions begin to rise, it's easy to react impulsively. It's tempting to act on those feelings immediately without pausing to consider where they're coming from or what they truly mean. But if you want to be in control of your life and make better decisions, you must take the time to understand your feelings before you act. Too often, we allow our emotions to take the lead, especially in moments of stress or frustration. We snap at others. We make hasty decisions, or we let anger guide us into poor choices. But the truth is, those emotions aren't always the full picture. Beneath the surface of every emotion is a deeper message waiting to be understood. If we rush past it, we miss an opportunity for growth and understanding. When you take the time to understand your feelings, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You pause, reflect, and ask yourself why you feel this way. Is it fear of the unknown? Is it frustration from a lack of control? Is it disappointment from an unmet expectation? When you take a moment to dive deeper, you begin to uncover the root causes of your emotions, and once you understand the source, you can respond more thoughtfully and intentionally. Understanding your feelings isn't about judging yourself for feeling a certain way. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about recognizing that emotions are a natural part of the human experience. But it's also about realizing that you don't have to be controlled by them. You can learn from them, grow from them, and then choose the best way forward. By taking the time to understand your feelings, you create the space needed for better decision-making. You allow yourself to step outside of immediate reactions and instead choose responses that align with your long-term goals and values. This small shift over time leads to greater emotional resilience and personal strength. When you understand your emotions, you don't let them dictate your life. Instead, you gain the power to steer your own course with wisdom and purpose. If you're serious about progress, about achieving your goals and living the life you truly want, then emotional discipline is non-negotiable. You can have the best plans, the most ambitious dreams, and all the skills in the world. But without the ability to control your emotions, you'll find that progress becomes slow, inconsistent, and often unpredictable. Life isn't always going to be smooth sailing. There will be moments when everything seems to fall apart, when you're faced with disappointment, setbacks, or even failure. During these times, your emotions will rise and they'll pull at you. They'll tempt you to give in to frustration, to quit, or to take the easy route out. But here's the truth. Your ability to stay disciplined with your emotions, especially in those tough moments, will determine how far you can go. Emotional discipline means keeping your focus on the bigger picture, regardless of the feelings that may come and go in the moment. It means being able to step back, take a deep breath, and make decisions not based on your current emotional state, but on your long-term goals and values. Emotional discipline doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring them. It means recognizing them and choosing not to let them control your actions. For example, when things don't go as planned, you might feel disappointment or anger. That's natural. But emotional discipline is about acknowledging those feelings, learning from them, and using them as fuel to drive you forward, rather than letting them stop you. It's about not allowing temporary emotions to derail your progress or cloud your judgment. It's also about consistency. Success is the result of small, disciplined actions taken every day. And it's the same with emotional discipline. You won't master it overnight. But if you keep practicing, if you commit to responding with thoughtfulness, focus, and patience, rather than impulsive reactions, you'll start to see the fruits of your discipline. The more you practice emotional discipline, the easier it becomes to maintain your composure, no matter what life throws your way. Here's the key. Emotional discipline isn't just about how you handle the tough times. It's about how you manage yourself in every moment. It's about being in control when things go right as well. Success, after all, can be as distracting as failure if you let it inflate your ego or lead you astray. When you've mastered emotional discipline, you are free to act with clarity, consistency, and purpose, no matter the circumstances. This is the foundation of true progress, mastering your emotions so they never master you. It's about remaining calm, focused, and determined as you move forward on your path. And it's the kind of discipline that will carry you through the hard times, help you stay on track during the good times, and ultimately lead you to the success you're striving for. One of the most powerful skills you can develop in life is the ability to choose your responses, not just react to situations. Every day, life presents us with countless triggers, challenges, surprises, frustrations. And the temptation is to react instinctively, driven by our emotions. But if you want to take charge of your life and move toward greater success, you must understand that reactions are often impulsive, but responses are deliberate. And it's your responses that shape the course of your future. Number 5, reactions are actually much more common than you think. A reaction is immediate and driven by emotion. You feel anger, frustration, or disappointment, and before you know it, you've said something you regret or made a decision you'll later question. Reactions can feel like they come from outside of you, as though you're simply a victim of circumstances. But here's the reality. Reactions don't come from outside, they come from within. Nor does reactions come from other people. They are the result of how you choose to interpret the events around you, and they often lack the kind of thoughtfulness that leads to meaningful action. On the other hand, a response is different. A response is something you consciously choose after you've had time to reflect and consider the situation. When you respond instead of react, you take control of the situation. You recognize the emotion rising within you, but you don't let it drive your actions. You pause, take a step back, and choose the most appropriate way to move forward. Let me tell you, this small shift, going from reaction to response, makes all the difference in the world. When you choose your responses, you free yourself from the tyranny of your emotions and take command of your actions. You no longer let life control you. Instead, you control how you show up in every situation, no matter how difficult or stressful it may be. Think about it. How often do people act out of frustration or anger, only to regret their words or decisions later? It's because they reacted instead of responding. They let their emotions rule them and it clouded their judgment. But when you take a moment, breathe, and respond thoughtfully, you make better decisions. You maintain your integrity, and you ensure that your actions align with your long-term goals, not just your momentary emotions. So your problem becomes the momentary emotions. It's also important to realize that, in many ways, your responses define you. They are a reflection of your character, your values, and your ability to stay composed under pressure. People won't always remember the specific situations you face, but they will remember how you handled them. They will remember whether you responded with patience, respect, and clarity, or whether you reacted in haste, anger, or frustration. And over time, the more you choose your responses, the more you will build a reputation for being someone who is steady, reliable, and in control of their emotions. This isn't to say that you should suppress your emotions or ignore them. Feelings are natural, and they have their place. But there's a huge difference between letting your emotions dictate your actions and recognizing them, processing them, and then choosing a response that serves you and others in the best possible way. When you choose your responses, you choose the person you want to be. You decide that no matter what happens, you'll act with purpose and clarity. You decide that your goals, your integrity, and your peace of mind are more important than any fleeting emotion. And in doing so, you set yourself up for greater success, not just in your career, but in your relationships, your personal growth, and your overall happiness. Let me ask you this. How often have you allowed negative emotions to take the wheel in your life? How often have feelings of anger, fear, disappointment, or frustration taken over, distracting you from your purpose and holding you back from your full potential? If you're honest with yourself, you know that negative emotions can be incredibly powerful, but they can also be dangerously misleading if we let them control us. The truth is, negative emotions are part of the human experience. We all feel them from time to time. They arise in response to setbacks, disappointments, or moments of uncertainty. But here's the key. These emotions, though natural, are not your masters unless you allow them to be. Negative emotions will come. That's a given. But whether or not they hijack your potential is entirely up to you. When negative emotions take control, they cloud your judgment, they drain your energy, and they lead you to make decisions that are rooted in fear or frustration rather than clarity and purpose. The more you allow these emotions to dominate, the more you'll find yourself reacting to life rather than creating the life you want. You'll find yourself stuck, spinning in circles, unable to move forward because you're too busy wallowing in negativity or letting it dictate your actions. But here's the empowering truth. You have the power to prevent this from happening. You don't have to let negativity steer your life. In fact, you can use those emotions to fuel your growth rather than hinder it. The key is awareness and discipline. The moment you recognize that a negative emotion is rising within you, that's the moment you must take a step back and ask yourself, how can I use this? How can I turn this feeling into something constructive? For instance, let's say you're frustrated because things aren't moving fast enough in your career. You could easily allow that frustration to consume you, to convince you that you're stuck, that you're failing. But if you take a step back and reflect, you might realize that this frustration is an opportunity. It's a sign that you care about your growth, that you're pushing for more. Instead of letting frustration turn into self-doubt, you can use it as fuel to work harder, learn more, and keep moving forward with even greater determination. Anger can be another powerful emotion, but one that can easily derail your progress if you let it. It's natural to feel angry when someone wrongs you or when you're facing an unfair situation, but when you let anger take control, it clouds your judgment and it often leads to regret. If instead you recognize the anger, process it, and channel that energy into finding solutions or improving your situation, you've turned what could have been a setback into an opportunity for progress. Remember, negative emotions are not the problem. The problem is when we let them hijack our potential, when we let them dictate how we act or how we see ourselves. The challenge is to rise above them, to recognize that you are in control and that you don't need to be a slave to your feelings. Emotions are just signals. They are not commands. You can listen to them, learn from them, and then choose how to respond in a way that aligns with your goals. When you learn to control your emotions, to refuse to let them derail you, you take back your power. You step into the driver's seat of your life, and from there, nothing can stop you. Negative emotions no longer have the power to knock you off course. Instead, they become a reminder of your resilience and your ability to keep pushing forward, no matter what comes your way. In life, there are moments when it feels like everything is going wrong. The setbacks seem endless, the obstacles insurmountable, and the weight of challenges can feel overwhelming. In those moments, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you are at the mercy of circumstances, that your success or failure is determined by the hand you've been dealt. But let me tell you, the real key to overcoming life's toughest moments lies in one simple shift: shifting your perspective. You see, your perspective is everything. It's the lens through which you view the world and interpret your experiences. And the truth is, the way you see things determines how you respond to them. If you see obstacles as insurmountable, then they will be. If you see setbacks as permanent failures, then they will paralyze you. But if you shift your perspective, if you choose to see challenges as opportunities for growth, you'll gain control over your life in ways you never thought possible. The power of perspective is that it puts you in the driver's seat. It allows you to choose how you view a situation and, more importantly, how you respond to it. For example, let's say you've faced a setback, a project didn't go as planned, or a goal slipped out of reach. The natural reaction might be to feel discouraged, to think that you've failed, that it's not meant to be. But when you shift your perspective, you see it differently. You realize that failure is simply a stepping stone to success, that the lessons you've learned from this experience are invaluable. When you choose to see a setback as a learning opportunity, you gain a sense of control because you recognize that no situation is ever truly final. And finally, a word of warning. Expectations should be an evolutionary process. Think about any time in your life when things didn't go as you expected. It's easy to focus on the negative, to let the frustration and disappointment dominate your thoughts. But what if, instead, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? The moment you ask that question, you shift your perspective, and suddenly the setback becomes an opportunity. The frustration transforms into determination. The disappointment fuels a new sense of purpose. This shift doesn't just change your attitude, it changes your entire approach to life. Shifting your perspective also allows you to take control of your emotions. It's easy to get caught up in anger or frustration when things aren't going well. But when you change the way you see things, you stop letting your emotions drive your actions. You begin to respond with clarity and reason instead of reacting impulsively. Instead of allowing yourself to spiral into negativity, you choose to see the bigger picture, to focus on your goals and your long-term vision. But shifting your perspective isn't always easy. It requires conscious effort and practice. It requires you to step back from the immediate situation, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this the only way to view this? What if I looked at this from a different angle? This simple habit, practiced consistently, has the power to transform how you approach not only challenges, but every area of your life. And here's the thing. When you shift your perspective, you start to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. You begin to see solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of limitations. Life's challenges are no longer roadblocks, they're the building blocks of your success. The more you practice shifting your perspective, the more control you have over your own life. You begin to see that you are the one shaping your future, not the circumstances around you. And in the end, control over your life doesn't come from waiting for things to get better or hoping that circumstances will change. It comes from shifting your perspective, from choosing to see every experience as a lesson, and from taking deliberate action in the face of adversity. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's where true power lies, the power to create the life you want, no matter what. If you want to build a life of true success, a life that's marked by lasting achievement and fulfillment, then you must start with self-mastery. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. All the skills, strategies, and resources in the world won't matter if you don't have the ability to control yourself, your actions, and your emotions. Self-mastery is the bedrock of personal and professional growth, and without it, success will always remain just out of reach. You see, self-mastery isn't about perfection. It's not about being flawless in every area of life. It's about taking responsibility for your choices, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and consistently choosing to act in alignment with your values and long-term goals. When you master yourself, you master your destiny. Without this mastery, you're at the mercy of your impulses, your emotions, and the circumstances around you, and that's a dangerous place to be. Let's think about this for a moment. Self-mastery is about knowing who you are, where you're going, and what it takes to get there. It's the discipline to stay focused on your goals even when distractions arise. It's the ability to remain calm and composed when challenges threaten to overwhelm you. When you cultivate self-mastery, you gain the power to make decisions based on your long-term vision, rather than being swayed by temporary emotions or fleeting desires. This control over yourself is what allows you to create lasting change. You can't change your life by wishing things were different or hoping that circumstances will magically improve. The real change comes when you decide to take charge of your thoughts, habits, and actions. When you embrace the process of self-mastery, you set yourself up for success because you're no longer reactive, you become proactive. You make deliberate choices that move you closer to your goals every single day. Yes, but this isn't easy. Self-mastery requires consistent effort and self-awareness. It requires you to confront your weaknesses and work on them. It means developing the discipline to make the right decisions, even when it's hard, and taking responsibility for your actions, even when they don't turn out the way you hoped. It means building the habits of success, those daily actions that, when repeated over time, lead to extraordinary results. These are the small choices you make every day that define who you become. Think about the most successful people you admire. What sets them apart? It's not just their talent, their intelligence, or their luck. It's their ability to master themselves. They have the discipline to keep going when others quit. They have the focus to stay on track when distractions come their way. They have the emotional control to make decisions from a place of clarity, not frustration. They understand that their success is a result of their actions, not just their circumstances. And they take full responsibility for those actions. When you develop self-mastery, you start to see yourself as the architect of your own life. You begin to realize that the power to create the life you want is already within you. You stop waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap, and instead, you create your own opportunities. You learn how to handle adversity with grace and resilience, and you keep pushing forward no matter what setbacks or challenges come your way. Self-mastery is also the key to personal fulfillment. It's not enough to achieve success in your career or finances if you haven't mastered yourself. True success is about finding balance in all areas of your life, your relationships, your health, your personal growth. When you are in control of yourself, you can achieve harmony across all of these areas. You are no longer pulled in different directions by conflicting desires or emotions. And this is actually how you begin this chapter with this enthusiasm. Instead, you move through life with purpose and clarity. In the end, self-mastery is the one skill that can't be outsourced or bought. It's something you must develop within yourself. It's a daily practice that requires discipline, patience, and commitment. But when you make the decision to master yourself, you unlock the door to true success. It becomes the foundation that supports everything else you do. And once you've built that foundation, nothing can shake it. You'll have the clarity, the focus, and the resilience to achieve whatever you set your mind to, and your success will be inevitable.